happy birthday to Götzis. 50 years. It's an incredible standard, and I just want to say how much I love this meet. It's a pleasure to come back here every single year.
All right, thank you everybody for joining today's press conference. A very warm welcome from our side to the 50th Hypomeeting anniversary edition. And welcome especially to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to quickly introduce you to the athletes. Maybe we start with the ladies. We have Anna Hall here from the USA. Welcome. We have Michelle Atherley here for her second time in Götzis. A warm welcome to you as well. And then we have Damian Warner here for the 12th time in Götzis. Incredible. We have Matthias Lasch here from Austria. Thank you very much for joining. Vielen Dank und willkommen. Und we have Leo Neugebauer here from Germany. Ein großes Willkommen auch an dich. Hallo Leo. Zu beginnen, to start with, I would like to ask all of you, and maybe we start in the middle as Damian is the most experienced one, what your expectations are towards the weekend, maybe in a few sentences.
Yeah, so my expectations are, as always, this is the first meet of the year, so you want to come here and you want to test yourself to see if all the training that you've done throughout the winter has been working. This is a different year in the sense that the World Championships are not until September, so we have to pace things out a little bit slower. But I think I'm in good shape. It'll just be fun to get out there and compete against a lot of great athletes. I think this is probably one of the strongest fields that's been assembled since I've been in Götzis, so looking forward to it.
Thank you. You can just pass on the microphone, and of course the German-speaking ones can also reply in German.
Okay, dann mache ich als nächstes weiter. Was war die Frage nochmal? Sorry.
Was deine Erwartungen, was du dir vorstellst unter dem ersten Götzis-Wochenende?
Ja, also wie gesagt, ich war noch nie hier als Zuschauer oder habe noch nie mitgemacht, deswegen ist es für mich das erste Mal. Ich freue mich mega drauf, geiles Wetter, ich fühle mich sehr gut und mit so einem krassen Feld anzutreten wird eine sehr coole Erfahrung. Ich glaube auch für die Zuschauer eine coole Show werden und ich glaube, es wird ein cooles Wochenende werden.
So Leo is very much looking forward to the weekend for his first time in Götzis. He's expecting a cool weekend full of great competitions and stacked with great athletes. Thank you, Leo. Anna, over to you.
This weekend, I think the biggest thing for me is I want to have fun. I think that last year being injured and kind of like the letdown of Paris, I kind of lost the fun of the heptathlon, and that's something that I definitely had a lot of 2 years ago here, so I'm looking forward to being back, and I'm really happy that I took the time to get healthy. So I hope this weekend is a fun, pain-free return. I told my coaches that I was like, I feel like I'm barely ready, but barely ready is ready, so I'm excited and hopefully some strong performances this weekend.
Great, thank you so much. Who wants to continue?
I would like to echo Damian and kind of point out like this is the opener and we're kind of in season but in the early part of that season, so I'm very much looking forward to testing, seeing where I'm at, also having a great time. I think this field is amazing and it's good to see all of these heptathletes gather, especially on this anniversary, so I'm really looking forward to the competition, I'm looking forward to the fans and I'm looking forward to the great weather.
Also für mich ist jetzt auch das erste Mal hier in Götzis. Der letzte Mehrkampf war schon sehr lange her, fast jetzt 2023 in Jerusalem, weil das letzte Jahr sehr schwierig war. Aber umso mehr freue ich mich jetzt, dass ich wieder so weit bin, dass ich die Mehrkämpfe machen kann, weil die ganzen Verletzungen, die ich gehabt habe und aufarbeiten müssen habe, dass ich da jetzt nochmal wieder einen Mehrkampf machen kann mit Freude, vor allem in so einem super Stadion mit so einem super Publikum und natürlich mit den besten 10 Kämpfer auf der ganzen Welt, die es noch gibt. Und genau, ich glaube, das ist der richtige Ort, wieder mal einen Mehrkampf zu machen, mit Freude und Spaß und voll dabei zu sein. Und ja, hoffentlich dann das Ziel ist, dass ich dann das Limit auch für die EU23 EM dann machen kann.
So Matthias said after a difficult year last year with injuries and just a difficult year, and his last decathlon was in 23 in Jerusalem. He's happy to be back in such a great field, in the perfect place, as he said, to take on his decathlon competition again, and he's looking forward to the weekend. All right, then I would like to hand over to you. Anybody who has questions to the athletes, just give us a sign and my colleague will hand you the microphone.
This is for Damian. Damian has the most experience on the table. Could you explain the special vibe of Götzis and the Maltese here in Austria to the newbies?
I see what people are doing this year. It's a lot of your experience. You know, you've been here a while. I'm getting old. You could just say that.
I said experience.
Yeah, I know. No, the vibe is definitely different this year. I think that for me, this being my 12th year, it seems like every single time I come, there's something new that adds some excitement. And with it being the 50th, this one's really cool for me. Not only do we have a really strong field, as I mentioned, but we have some of the former champions here as well, so that's really cool. Because a short story, when I first learned of the decathlon, I had no idea what it was. I thought it was swimming, biking, and horseback riding. And my coaches are like, I think you could be a great decathlete, Gar and Dennis back there. So I wanted to learn as much as I could about the decathlon. So I got on my bike and I rode to the London Public Library and went on Google and I wrote decathlon champion, and whose name popped up but Brian Clay in the back of the room. And he was the first decathlete that I really tried to model myself after. And I remember bringing a discus home and a javelin home and just throwing it in my parking lot. And I knew I was getting better because the discus kept getting closer to the cars in the parking lot. And then eventually I was like, I got to move on. But a lot of these decathletes here, like Roman Seberle, Brian Clay, they influence people like me. And it's really cool to come to this competition and compete in front of this crowd and the kids. And hopefully I can have that same impact on some of the other people that are watching. So it's kind of come full circle. It's kind of a really cool thing. And I feel very honored to be in this position that I am now 12 years later. So, yeah.
So my question's also for Damian. Obviously, you're the most experienced, but you have some things yet that you've not achieved, and you don't have an outdoor world title yet. But I've been looking at the marks you've scored already this year in individual events: 1020, 783, 1464, and a 49-metre discus, and a 485 pole vault, and that's really close to your PB. Are we going to see a 5-metre pole vault from you this year?
You would hope one day. You would hope one day it'll come. I definitely think pole vault it's moving in the best pace that it's ever been. We made some changes. I had a really short approach before, five lefts or 10 steps. So now I'm back at 14. So I feel like I'm carrying a little bit more speed. I'm on bigger poles. So that was the first time I ever jumped from that long of and I kind of ran out of poles, which is not typical for me, so I couldn't really jump any higher. So I think we have the poles in the bag this time, so hopefully we can get those heights. But the results this year have been going pretty well. It's just a matter of doing it the next 2 days, and hopefully I can rely on some of that experience that I have to put that result together.
Okay. Leo, Frage an Sie. Sie waren in den letzten Jahren sehr erfolgreich, genau um die Jahreszeit, jeweils zu Hause oder dort, wo Sie studieren, in den USA. Was verschafft uns die Ehre, dass Sie es in diesem Jahr hierher nach Götzis geschafft haben?
Ja, also ich war ja an der Uni jetzt die letzten 4 Jahre und deswegen musste ich halt auch da die Saison mitmachen und da war es halt so, dass ich immer einen Wettkampf machen musste zum Qualifizieren für die Nationalmeisterschaften dort und dann dort die Nationalmeisterschaften machen und da hat Götzis nie wirklich reingepasst und dieses Jahr ist das erste Jahr, wo ich nicht an der Uni bin und ich trainiere da zwar noch, aber ich muss nicht mehr für die Uni antreten und deswegen kann ich endlich hier dabei sein und dass ich auch hier beim 50. Jubiläum dabei sein kann, ist nochmal mehr besonders. Genau, und ich freue mich mega und wird ein cooler Tag werden.
Okay. One question to all of you. Can you give us a little bit more sight in what you expect, especially maybe on special events, on improvements on special events, where have been training very good in some events where you, I don't want to say fear, but where you have maybe your problems, where do you expect improvements for all of us, for all of you?
I think for me, I don't ever try to like shoot for a specific number, but I think coming into this one, after coming back from my knee surgery last year, I kind of had to like reframe success in my head. So I think my personal goal would be to have all my marks better than marks I've done since my knee surgery last January. For me, I think that would be a very big victory. And hopefully lead to a pretty good score. And I think a big one that I'm looking for to improve and be very brave in is the long jump. That's the event where I originally like slipped on a board and hurt my knee in the first place. So there's been a lot of fear there the last few years that I think even when I'm physically ready held me back. So I'm hoping that we'll get the clap going and I'll be able to run all the way through the board this weekend.
Also für mich ist es mal das Ziel für diesen Wettkampf, dass ich mich zurechtfinde in dem Feld und vor allem auch mit den Änderungen klarkomme, weil die letzten Monate haben sehr viele Änderungen stattgefunden, vor allem im Hochsprung und im Kugelstoß. Im Hochsprung habe ich das Sprungbein gewechselt, weil ich halt eben letztes Jahr in der Patellasehne Einriss gehabt habe und überhaupt kein Training machen können habe, das ganze Jahr lang. Und habe erst im Winter wieder wirklich angefangen mit den technischen Disziplinen, habe nur werfen können und also ist das für mich umso was Größeres zu machen, vor allem der kurze Umstieg aufs andere Sprungbein, möchte dort wieder das Beste geben, dass ich da zurückfinde wie auf einer echten Sprungbein, auf dem linken Bein. Und genau im Kugelstoß haben wir jetzt eine Technikumstellung gemacht auf den Drehstoß. Das wird auch einmal eine große Umstellung für mich werden. Und genau im Stabhochsprung versuchen wir jetzt auf andere Höhen wieder zu kommen. Habe ich im Winter die 490er Stäbe gesprungen und jetzt haben wir gesagt, ja, wir müssen was anderes finden und jetzt haben wir auf andere Stäbe zurückgegriffen, auf 5 Meter Stäbe und das wird der erste Wettkampf werden, wo ich schaue, wie das wird, mit denen zu springen. Und ja, also ich freue mich schon richtig, dabei zu sein.
I think this weekend I'm really looking for consistency. Like we said, it's kind of an opener, so we do all these individual events, but putting it all together in 2 days is a little bit different. So I'm really, really excited to see how I can be in my throws. I've been working really hard on that, and so putting it together in the heptathlon, I'm looking forward to it a lot. And just seeing also how fast I can run, that's always exciting to get to for this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think for me, like Michelle was saying, just consistency over the weekend. I think my throws have been going really well, so I'd love to see that. I think one of the big goals is to make sure that I jump higher than I did in Paris last year in pole vault. So if I do that, I'll be pretty happy.
Ja, also bei mir ist, ich glaube, ich versuche einfach nur hier die ganze Sache einfach nur so wirklich wahrzunehmen, dass ich jetzt endlich mal hier bin. Meine Kumpels waren schon die ganzen letzten Jahre hier, haben ein bisschen Bier getrunken, haben gesagt, Leo, du musst hier mal dabei sein und dann bin ich jetzt endlich hier. Nochmal? Nee, nicht beim Bier trinken, aber jetzt beim Wettkampf dabei zu sein. Genau, also jetzt einfach so alles zu genießen, nochmal vor Freunden, Familien Wettkampf machen zu können und eine solide Punktzahl abzuliefern und ja, wie immer hat man ein bisschen Angst vor dem 1500er, aber es gehört dazu. Was macht der Speerwurf? Ja, schauen wir mal. Knapp besser wie Diskus. Genau.
Damian, my name is Tim, working for German television. As we heard before, Götzis is obviously a very important place for you in your career, but also Tokyo is where you won your Olympic gold medal in 2021. So how important is it for your motivation to get back there, because now you will have an audience this year, because you didn't have in 2021?
Yeah, Tokyo is obviously a really special place for me. That's where I got to live out my childhood dreams, so that's always special. But one of the traditions that we have whenever we travel is to get out and see certain aspects of the country, and because of the quarantine, we weren't able to do that. So obviously you want to get that back there and compete, but you want to go there and you want to have that experience that you didn't have in 2021. So just looking to get back there and hear that stadium, how it was supposed to be. But yeah, no, I love Tokyo for obvious reasons, but it'll be really fun to experience that this year.
Thank you.
So I have a question for Leo in English, if that's okay. So,
I don't speak English very well. Let's try.
so you now have some experience as a professional decathlete. How have you adapted from the college environment into the professional environment as an athlete?
That's a very good question. I think the adaptation is still happening right now because, I mean, all of last season I was still a college athlete. Even, like, I did NCAAs and then the Olympics, which I did, for example, the year before with Budapest and stuff. And yeah, that's why this year is, like, completely different in terms of how I structure it. I'm just kind of seeing where I'm at. I don't have any crazy expectations. I'm just trying to, like, have a smooth transition into professional life. And yeah, and the most important thing is the body feels fantastic, and I'm just going to be out there having a lot of fun with all my friends cheering me on and stuff, so it's going to be a good time.
Thank you. I have one for Anna before I pass the microphone on to someone else. So Anna, you've been doing some Grand Slam track this season as well in the hurdles, and one of the things I noticed about Grand Slam track was the language of combined events was starting to come in with, with the coverage saying athlete X is doing well in this first event, but they've got another one or two to come. Did it feel like that for you as a combined event athlete? And is the rest of the world finally discovering combined events?
It definitely felt a little bit funny just hearing everybody say like, oh, so-and-so third place in this race, but tomorrow's like their best event. I was like, that sounds a little familiar. So it was kind of cool, I guess, to see more people, specifically more Americans, kind of get behind that type of a storyline, which I'm hoping that when they hear it again at World Champs and future Olympic Games, maybe they'll be a little bit quicker to clue in since they have kind of heard it before now. But I hope that we can start maybe getting some combined events things added. I'm not sure what that would look like, but I know you guys have a triathlon in Oslo in a few weeks. I'm very jealous of that. So hopefully maybe some of the Diamond Leagues or Grand Slam or Athlos or something can start adding some triathlons for the women as well. That's definitely something I'll be pushing for. So,
thank you.
Just another one for Anna. Yesterday we learned about a new series which will take place next year, Athos, especially for female athletes. What are your thoughts about that?
I think my thoughts are that any investment in track and field is a positive thing right now. So I'm excited about it. I am currently not a part of it. I don't think they have 400 hurdles, so I'm not sure there's an event that I can be competitive in yet. But all of those different leagues, my goal is always to find an individual event that I can be good enough at to compete with them. So I'll be trying to get an invite someday. But I think it's a positive thing. I think even when the investments in track and field maybe aren't happening exactly as we would like them to, it's still going to bring more eyes to the sport, which ultimately helps us down the road. So I think we're all kind of in our fine-tuning stages of all these leagues, and hopefully it'll just keep pushing the sport up and up.
Thank you.
Another question for Ms. Hall. I understand very well that you compare yourself mostly to the Anna Hall from after the knee surgery, but do you think after the very good results that you've showed in the last few weeks that there is a possibility that you go towards your combined score from 2 years ago, or do you think that's not realistic yet for now?
I don't want to say it's not realistic because look at where we are. Anything can happen here. This is a very special place. But I would say that's definitely not my goal. I think, anytime you get close to your PR or you PR in a heptathlon is a very special thing, and I would never take that for granted, but I think I might be a little bit scared if it happens here, just because I want that to happen in Tokyo. So I think the goal this year, and we structured it a little bit differently, to really, really try to build to be at my best at the end of the season, because as a professional, I have not done that yet. So that is my goal, is to score my highest then. But if I scored really, really high here on the way to that, I would love that. But I'm definitely not putting the pressure on myself for the score here.
Thank you.
Eine Frage noch an die Zukunftsziele, an the goals, maybe in the future. Damian, for you, gold, the World Championships. Leo, world record, maybe. Anna, what are you expecting? What the goals, not for this weekend, maybe this weekend, but maybe it will take a little bit longer. And also for Michelle and Matthias, please.
Well, I think first and foremost for most athletes that come to this competition, because it is of the highest level, everybody's goal or intentions of a World Championships is either to get on the podium or to win a gold medal. I've been doing this for a long time, and the one thing that's escaped me is winning a gold medal at the World Championships. So I'd be lying if I said that that wasn't my goal. But obviously I know that it takes a lot of steps along the way, and that's what we're currently working on right now, is just to take the right steps to put ourselves in the best position so that when we get there we can give our best fight. But it's never going to be easy, but we're hopefully up for the challenge.
Do you think about world record? Is this something in your mind?
It's obviously something that I think about, but at the same time, from what I've observed from other athletes that broke the world record, they're always a little bit surprised. It's never something that they go into it saying, I'm going to break the world record today, and it happens. There's just too much variety and too much randomness in the decathlon, so it's just a matter of being in good shape, going out there, executing each individual event, and then hopefully when you cross that line in the 1500, you're surprised, but yeah, if it ever happens, I'll let you know how it felt.
The goals for the career, or what was the question? Oh, okay. I don't know. I really want to hit 600,000 followers. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, for me it's just, so I see it like always as in, I'm trying to be better than I used to be, and I always trying to be a little bit better every single year. I feel like setting fixed goals is really hard to do, especially in a decathlon, because things sometimes just happen. Not gonna lie, last time when I did my PR now at the national championship, I went into competition. I felt all right, kind of, you know what I mean. And then I did still a really good score. That shows that you don't really as Damian said, like you're not gonna feel like, oh, today's the day. But you kind of, it's just gonna happen, you know. So that's kind of how I take it. Try to be better every year. This year's kind of like an adaptation to the pro life, and yeah, let's see what happens. But I'll always have fun.
Any other questions? Sorry, my bad. Continue, Anna.
I think my goal for sure, every single year, even though I have not hit it yet, has been to put myself in a position to compete for gold. So I think that is my focus this year. And I think I've had to slow some things down in my head to do that. I don't think it's hard to see that I can be very ambitious. I want to do everything, and sometimes that means I want to train too much, I want to train too hard too early, I want to compete too much, things like that. So we've kind of had to meet in the middle and like slow roll this year a little bit in order to maybe give ourselves a better chance in Tokyo. But the ultimate goal is to compete for the win. I think if you do that, the scores kind of will come. And there can be a lot of chatter about records and certain barriers and things like that, but I think I've had to remind myself a few times, and the people in my circle have reminded me a few times that I am pretty young. I've like been around a little bit, but I'm only 24, so I'm kind of just in the mindset of like, I'm not going to let anybody rush me. Like, I will get to those things when I get to them, hopefully, God willing and healthy and all of that, but I'm not going to let people like rush my journey along. Yeah.
Similarly, I think my build has been quite slow in the combined events, and so I think that as long as I put one foot in front of the other and build throughout the season, I can put myself in a great position for Tokyo. And so that's my ultimate goal. Obviously in a beautiful setting to kind of start the season off with a bang. So that's my goal going into my mindset, and kind of to, similarly to Anna, be ready in Tokyo and be ready to compete, to put something good up there and experience that experience on the world stage.
Also mein Ziel ist es auf jeden Fall mal, sich zurechtzufinden da hier, vor allem bei den Senioren einmal das erste Mal dabei zu sein, der erste Seniorenwettkampf, und natürlich dann das Limit für die U23 EM angreifen, und natürlich hofft man immer, dass man eine gute Punktezahl erreichen kann und ein paar Bestleistungen mitnehmen kann und einfach nur die Erfahrung sammeln, vor allem weil es für mich das erste Mal ist, wo ich in so einem guten Starterfeld mitstarten darf, und für mich wird das einfach ein Wettkampf, den was ich richtig genießen darf, weil die letzten Jahre war ja nur im Fernsehen zum Zuschauen da. Bei mir ist es nie ausgegangen, dass ich es im Live zuschauen kann, und jetzt bin ich umso glücklicher, dass ich dabei sein kann und genau einfach mein Bestes gebe und mich zurechtfinde und einfach ich selber bin, und genau.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Damian and Leo already have the World Championship qualifier for Tokyo, so we'll definitely see you, no matter what happened here this weekend, but of course we wish you the best. Michelle and Anna, you will compete here, then you both have to do the US Championship to qualify actually for Tokyo, so that means this is your first, and US Championship will be the second, and then Tokyo will be the third heptathlon you do this season. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the progress that we go through every year. That's kind of what we have to do, and so we plan accordingly. I'm very grateful to have a bye this year as the Combined Events Challenge winner from the 2024 season. So I think that this year I can be extremely smart with how I approach that process. I still have to show up at USAs, but yeah, every year our US athletes, combined event athletes specifically, have to go through that. And so we really have to be smart with how we progress through the season and be able to peak for USAs and then again at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things that sticks in your head of like, okay, I have to get past this. And it is sometimes funny, I think, when we're talking about Tokyo, or last year there was so much chatter about the Olympics, like even in the fall, and I think all the US athletes in the back of our head were like, we still have to make this team. Like, I need to not wake up sick on trials day, you need to not false start, like there's so many things that can go wrong. But I think being able to have composure through the US trials prepares you almost like nothing else for those moments, because in my experience the last 3 years, USA's was more nerve-wracking than Eugene, Budapest, and Paris. So just because you have all these great athletes coming in, and you'll have someone like Grant Holloway saying like, don't mess up, instead of usually we're trying to beat everyone and just do our absolute best. So it's a little bit of a weird headspace to be in, but we plan for that, we prepare for that, and I think the biggest thing for me is just making sure that my floor is really high, and I know if I can keep my floor in like the 6,600 points range, then that should get me through trials just about every time. So, yeah.
Great. Another question here. Thank you.
It's specifically for Michelle and Anna. How about discus and pole vault? Question is, should the Maltese evolve into decathlon for both gender, for men and women in the future? The guys are laughing, I don't know why.
As you know, there's quite a movement for that already taking place. I think that if you want to pole vault, then you should be able to pole vault. I personally do not want to experience that event, but I think those who want to absolutely should, and there should be a space for them if they choose to involve themselves in a decathlon.
I think my stance on it is that I would never want to look at like a young girl that said she wanted to do the decathlon and say no. So I'm glad that there is a space for them to do that. But on the flip side, I just think there's so much history in the heptathlon that I would be really sad to see it go away. And I don't think there's ever a good time to make that change, per se, because like there's already the next generation of heptathletes like getting ready for that. And so it's like, how are you going to look at these 16, 17, 18-year-old girls and say, nope, just kidding, like your event's going to be completely different. So I'm not really sure exactly what the answer to that would be. I just know that I love the heptathlon as it is, and I love its rich history. But also I'm really glad that there's a space for girls to do that if they choose to do so.
Any other questions? Yeah, Gabby?
Thank you. So World Athletics are here this weekend to get inspiration on how to promote combined events and how to cover combined events. And it's really easy to do here in Götzis because you're the stars. There's no one else here. You have the floor. In a World Championships or an Olympics, it's not just you. There's others as well. What could World Athletics do to improve the way that combined events are covered in championships? What would make it easier for your friends and family and casual athletics fans to understand what's going on when there's a regular long jump and a decathlon long jump, a heptathlon javelin and a regular javelin? What one thing would help? And I'd be really interested in just one answer from each of the panel, if possible.
Yeah, that's tricky off the top of our heads, but I think one of the things that they could do is, first of all, it has to be shown on TV. I know it's different in every country, but a lot of times in Canada, they don't even show the full decathlon, and if they do, it's just kind of like a small recap. But I think right now they have the people in place. Michael Smith, who's here this weekend, Trey Hardy is in broadcasting, so is Dan O'Brien. You find no more people who are knowledgeable about the decathlon than those guys. Maybe have them broadcasting the sport and kind of explaining it, because I know they do an amazing job at that. Yeah, and we've talked about it before, like it's not necessarily showcasing, but increase the field sizes again, I think would be very important, just so there's more athletes from a more diverse group of countries, because I think when it's down to 24, there's going to be 3 from specific countries, and before you know it, it's like the same countries are represented. So when it's 32, you have a lot more people from like small Caribbean countries and it just gets around the world that way. But I think it was touched upon multiple times here, like the decathlon is very special. I think a lot of people just don't know it, and we need to find a better way to showcase it, because I feel like once people see it and start following it, they'll just fall in love like all of us have.
I think getting back to it's kind of the storyline of like the world's greatest athlete, I feel like I haven't heard that as much about the combined events, as like that's what we're competing for the title of, kind of how people race for the world's fastest man. And I think kind of bringing that hype back into it would really help, because I don't know what country wouldn't want to have the world's greatest, like be able to claim that we have the world's greatest athlete. And I also think just visibility of, if we could compete more often, like the triathlons they're doing in Oslo, like if they did 4 of those a year at different diamond leagues, and it was like, okay, well now all of the athletics fans have seen like all the heptathletes go and do 3 events in Paris and 3 events in London and whatever. There's a little bit more of a story there of like, okay, they're going to start knowing what everyone's strengths are. They're going to have seen how we progress through the season. And I think that's part of what we're missing, is that the individual events kind of, they compete all year. So they get to follow like, this is what you run this week, and down and up and down and up, and now they're ready. And versus for us, we kind of show up and it's a surprise. So I think it would make it a little bit easier for fans to follow if we had more opportunities to compete. And obviously we can't do 7 events every time, so.
I agree. I think there has to be a storyline to follow. I think people have to be really invested in the athlete, especially when you're seeing somebody perform maybe not at the highest level that you see open events do so. And so I think that people have to understand the stakes as an athlete, a combined event athlete is competing in their event, and understand what it's going to cost them and what it's going to gain them as that storyline is being explained. And as Anna said, I think as the more visibility people have throughout the season, the more invested they are in the journey and the ups and the downs of the World Championships or the Olympics when they're seeing these people on a big stage. And I think that Grand Slam has put the vocabulary out there to understand when somebody competes in more than one event and what it costs them, and what they're going to gain if they perform their best in their best event. And so I think that same language has to be brought into the combined events, and kind of show that because they compete in so many events, they become the best athlete in the world. And what is it going to look like when they do that? What does it look like when they fail? And I think that people will really, really have emotional investment if they see that more often.
Yeah, I agree too. So just to have, especially at these diamond leagues and stuff, maybe also always like 3 events, and they're always different, because like all of us athletes are testing out all the individual events at some small meets, so might as well just put it in a diamond league, and then you can see us, and then you have like an emotional connection to that. And yeah, I think that would help a lot.
Ist es okay, wenn ich auf Deutsch antworte? Ja, es ist halt extrem kompliziert, weil halt die Mehrkämpfer nur 2 bis 3 Wettkämpfe im Jahr machen können. Und ich finde halt, dann sind halt eben solche Wettkämpfe wie den Diamond League, dass man 3 Disziplinen macht, genau das Richtige dafür, dass man das gut promotet. Und ja, es ist halt wirklich wichtig, dass die Mehrkämpfe dann ein gewisses Ansehen kriegen, auch wann die Mehrkämpfe stattfinden, dass man halt wirklich die Medienpräsenz hat und dass es einfach wirklich groß dargestellt wird und nicht nur die Single-Events dann sieht. Und genau, und jetzt, also ich bin schon froh, dass es jetzt noch die Diamond League 3 Disziplinen gibt. Ich war noch nicht dabei, aber hoffentlich wird es einmal soweit sein.
Thank you.
So Matthias agrees on basically what the others says. The visibility is the most important thing, and as long as we can ensure that the visibility is higher, which is the good thing about the Diamond League events, that will help a lot. All right. Any other questions to the 5 athletes we have here today? If not, I thank you very much for being here today. Wish you the best of luck for the competition weekend, and thank you all for joining us today, and we see each other tomorrow morning in the stadium. Thank you.